Okay, so that leads us to Graal number 4. And this is a big one, because what we've had so far is destructibility, which is impermanent change. The world heals back after you destroy it a lot like that. And then there's also emergent AI, which allows you to actually change the world in a local area around you. But most MMOs, most virtual worlds that have ever been created, are generally very static. They never change over time, except for the occasional expansion pack, which might change a thing here or there. What we're doing is we're going to embrace a concept that we call permanent change. And the way that we're doing that is through a mechanism that we call rallying calls. And rallying calls are this really cool way to set up a story that takes a long time for players to work through, but constantly and permanently changes the world as you go through it. The easiest way for me to describe that is through an example. So we'll start with what we call the raising of Halas. So the Combine Accord sends you out here to go out and set up the city of Halas. And of course that starts out as a little tent city. And nobody knows what's in the area, so there's all kinds of little dynamic quest opportunities that appear. Just so you understand what a rallying call is, I think everybody here knows what a public quest is. All right, okay, cool. So with a rallying call, it's kind of like a public quest. It is different, but it's kind of like a public quest where every single person in the game is on that rallying call together at the same time. And it's going to take 2, maybe 3 months of real time for it to be accomplished. But the trick is, you don't know where the stages are. You don't know what events will trigger the story to move forward. And it's different on every server. You'll progress it a lot differently, and we'll show you that as it goes through. So when the Combine Accord tells you to go out here and establish that tent city, now you can ignore what they said and just explore out on your own. That's always an option. You can go do anything you want to. But if you want to participate in the rallying call, then you want to go to that tent city and start finding the little ways that you can participate in it. One of the ways that you might be able to do that is by more of a crafting sort of thing, by gathering resources, helping to build a palisade log wall around the city, so on and so forth. You might also get together with your friends and form a group and strike out into the woods to find out what's out there and possibly pacify any dangers that you find. And that's where the fun begins, because you don't exactly know why the next stage might trigger. It might be because you got the log walls up, or it might be because you pacified the goblins in the woods too greatly. Whatever it is, you trigger the next stage of the rallying call, and what might happen then is that the goblins start showing up and burning your outlying villages. Now that creates a whole new set of dynamic quest opportunities. You can help to repair the buildings, you can help to defend them against the goblins, you can try to find out where the goblins are coming from and pacify them out there. In addition, you might the townspeople might actually create a quarry because they want to build stone walls now that the goblins are burning stuff. So as the villagers dig down into the ground, they're going to uncover some of those tiers of depth I talked to you about, and things might start coming out of the tunnels. So then there's more quest opportunities, defending the quarry workers, exploring those tunnels, etc. Additionally, you might want to help build those stone walls and make that permanent change that I was talking about. Eventually, you're going to erect those stone walls and make a really great keep, or pacify the woods too much, and eventually you're going to really tick off that Goblin King. And he's going to go off and make some allies with the gnolls and the orcs, and they're going to come back with a big siege army. And when that siege army is sitting there, this is what we'd call, this as an example, is the final stage of that rallying call, is the siege of Halas. Now, there's all kinds of new quest opportunities, of course, stopping the catapults, fighting against the things, defending the walls, perhaps combating against espionage or preventing sappers from undermining your walls, so on and so forth. And then, of course, we have some randomness that comes in because the quarries got abandoned. Now the monsters might be freely coming out and not only messing with you, but also messing with the gnolls and orcs and goblins. So all of those things continue until eventually the players do enough damage to that siege army that they break its back and it retreats. Now that's the end of that rallying call. And what would happen at that point is we would roll out a new rallying call somewhere else in the world. And it's not always somewhere else in the world. It might be here again. We might destroy the city that you just helped build. All kinds of things can be happening on a regular basis. And the really cool thing about this is that after launch, a couple of years down the line, When one of your friends says, hey man, what was it like back at launch? You're going to say, oh my God, Halas didn't even exist back then. That was before the Dragon Army attacked. That was before the Civil War. You know, you'll have all these unique stories. And as the world progresses, it will constantly change. You'll be constantly finding new experiences. And in fact, it's almost impossible to create your same gameplay experiences if you roll up a new alt. Because honestly, not only do you have to make exactly the same decisions to even have a chance at that, because remember, the world's remembering everything that you've done. But the world has changed underneath you. So you're going to need to constantly explore and find out about this world as you move through it. Right? So that's permanent change and emergent AI and of course destructibility, as well as the fact that we changed the core game. And those four elements wrap together into something that we call EverQuest Next. And to be honest, that's enough, but that's not all.